All right, let's talk about that moment, that dreaded, awkward silence when it's your turn to speak and your mind just goes completely blank. We're going to break down how you can keep conversations flowing pretty much effortlessly. I mean, you know the feeling, right? You're in a conversation, everything's going fine, and then, bam, nothing. Just a deafening internal silence. But what if I told you that this has absolutely nothing to do with you being boring?
Because the real reason this happens is actually the complete opposite of what you probably think. It's this fascinating little paradox that, once you get it, honestly, it changes everything.
And here it is, the big idea, the conversation paradox. Your mind isn't empty, it's overflowing. The problem is you've got this hypervigilant bouncer at the door of your mouth, and it's rejecting every single thought for not being good enough to get in. This internal critic is just relentless, isn't it? It's that little voice in your head whispering all these doubts, convincing you that silence is the safest option. And the more you worry about saying the absolute perfect thing, the stronger that filter gets, and the fewer things you feel like you can actually say. So, what do we do about it? How do we tame this inner critic? Well, the goal isn't to fire our internal bouncer completely. I mean, he's useful sometimes. We just need to learn how to turn his volume way, way down. Let's look at how. The first practical tool you can use is the 3-second rule. It's super simple. When a thought pops into your head, you have this tiny little window, about 3 seconds, to just say it. Say it out loud before your internal critic even has a chance to wake up and shoot it down. And this points to a really powerful truth. We are so afraid of being boring. But you know what? Authenticity is what actually connects people. A simple, boring observation is often the doorway to a much deeper, more interesting conversation than some perfectly crafted, clever comment ever could be. So, you've learned to lower that filter. That's step one. Now let's fuel up the engine with some techniques that will consistently and reliably move your conversations forward. This right here is a massive mindset shift. Just stop trying to perform. Stop worrying about how interesting you are. Instead, focus all that nervous energy outward. Get genuinely curious about the other person. Your anxiety will just plummet because suddenly the spotlight is no longer on you. And when you're genuinely curious, you'll naturally start asking better follow-up questions. Instead of jumping from topic to topic, you just stay with what they're saying. You dig one level deeper with each question. This not only shows you're actually listening, it makes the conversation so much richer, and it drastically reduces your own workload. Okay, so take a look at this seemingly simple sentence. To most people, it's just a statement of fact. But to a skilled conversationalist, this thing is an absolute goldmine of potential topics. This is a technique called conversation threading. You mentally pull on all the different topics packed inside their one statement. You've got it hiking, Colorado, their brother, the bad weather, travel in general. That's at least 5 different directions you can go. You will never feel stuck again once you realize that basically every sentence has these threads. But look, let's be real. Even with all these tools, your mind will occasionally go blank. It happens to everyone. The key is not to panic, but to have a plan. So let's build your social safety net. The goal is to replace that awful feeling of pure panic with a pre-planned pivot. So instead of freezing, you'll just reach into your new toolkits and pull out a strategy. No creative thinking required in that moment of stress. And here are 2 incredibly simple but effective tools. First, the environment scan. You just comment on something in your surroundings, like, this place has a great playlist. Easy. Second is the curious reversion. You jump back. You mentioned earlier you grew up in Seattle. What was that like? Both of these sound totally natural, and they buy your brain some time to reset. And for even more security, you can build yourself an emergency kit of upgraded questions. These are just more open-ended and interesting than the generic small talk questions we all fall back on. Having a few of these in your back pocket is the ultimate cure for conversation anxiety. You know, ultimately, all of these tools really serve a higher purpose. This isn't just about talking more, it's about transforming that social anxiety into a feeling of genuine connection. Because real connection, it's built through what's called self-disclosure. It works on a principle of reciprocity. You share something small and genuine about yourself, and that gives the other person permission to do the same. It's this natural progression from facts to opinions to feelings. That's how small talk evolves into a real bond. And finally, knowing how to end a conversation is just as important as knowing how to sustain one. This simple 3-step formula ensures you always leave a positive final impression. It's how you replace any awkwardness with grace.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. Stop seeing conversation as a test that you can fail. Start seeing it as an adventure of discovery. If you can make that one shift, your entire social world changes. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you talk to someone, what would happen if it wasn't a performance at all? What might you discover? Thanks for joining me.